this hour on VTV News. National Assembly discusses draft amended value-added tax law. Later on, emergency response to historic flooding intensifies in Quang province. In our world news, Israel bans UN Relief and Human Development Agency from operating.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lin Lei with the latest updates. During his official visit to the UAE, Prime Minister Phie held talks with Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE. The UAE leader congratulated Vietnam on its rapid development across various sectors. Prime Minister Phie conveyed the greetings of Vietnamese leaders, shared insights from his successful meeting with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and extended invitations from General Secretary Tô Lâm and State President Lương Cường for a future visit to Vietnam. The discussions focused on 5 key areas of cooperation, including raising bilateral trade to over $20 billion and enhancing collaboration in digital transformation, innovation, and cultural tourism. Following the talks, both leaders witnessed the signing of the Vietnam-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which marks the first free trade agreement between Vietnam and an Arab nation. This agreement, negotiated in record time, highlights the strong commitment of both countries to enhance economic cooperation and create new opportunities for Vietnam in the Middle East market. Continuing the 8th session, the National Assembly discussed several aspects of the draft amended law on value-added tax on Tuesday. Let's take a look.
During the discussion, the proposal for a 5% value-added tax on fertilizers drew significant feedback from deputies.
Agriculture is more precarious than other sectors, with workers often earning lower incomes. Exempting fertilizers from VAT would directly support farmers by reducing financial risks and improving production conditions.
When issuing policies, it's essential to consider factors that benefit the people and avoid negative impacts. Therefore, I propose maintaining current regulations and transferring fertilizers to Article 5, which outlines items exempt from value-added tax.
Some deputies argued that maintaining the 5% VAT on fertilizers would benefit the state, businesses, and the public.
The fertilizer industry relies on price stabilization. If VAT is applied and prices rise, the State Price Stabilization Fund will help prevent significant price increases.
A 5% VAT mainly affects import enterprises, allowing consumers to benefit from discounts. Prices should follow financial regulations and not automatically increase by 5%, which would burden consumers.
During discussions about the revenue threshold for goods and services exempt from value-added tax, several deputies agreed to lower the annual threshold to $7,900 or less.
The Vietnam Farmers Association has committed to supporting Cuban farmers in establishing a sustainable rice production chain with the goal of achieving rice self-sufficiency in Cuba by 2027. This pledge was made during talks held Tuesday morning between the Vietnam Farmers Association, VNFU, and the Cuban National Association of Small Farmers, ANAP. Both sides agreed to cooperate and share experiences in developing agricultural economies, focusing on successful households' economic models. Cuba expressed interest in receiving technical assistance from Vietnam to help farmers develop production chains and build strong cooperatives. To formalize their collaboration, the two associations signed a cooperation agreement aimed at implementing the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation for the period from 2025 to 2030, signed in Havana. This partnership seeks to strengthen the ties between farmers in both countries and further enhance the comprehensive relationship between Vietnam and Cuba. Vietnam's fruit and vegetable exports have seen significant growth, reaching $6.4 billion in the past 10 months, surpassing last year's total of $5.7 billion. Leading the charge is durian, with exports exceeding $3 billion, solidifying its status as the king of fruits. The Vietnam Fruit and Vegetable Association attributes this success to the diverse varieties and high quality of Vietnamese durian, with an annual output of 1.5 million tons. Quick transportation time to China and competitive pricing also contribute to its popularity. Other key exports include bananas, mangoes, dragon fruit, passion fruit, and processed products. Looking ahead, the industry is expected to continue its growth in the final month of the year due to seasonal factors. However, challenges remain, necessitating a focus on product quality, unique flavors, and food safety to maintain and enhance Vietnam's reputation in the global market. Many businesses have signed contracts to export fresh coconut to China, with shipments ranging from a few dozen to 1,500 containers, according to the Vietnam Coconut Association. This trend is expected to boost fresh coconut exports in the final months of the year, targeting a milestone of $250 million. Access to the billion-person market represents a significant opportunity for both businesses and farmers.
After thorough preparation and selection, 60,000 fresh coconuts from the Hung Thint Fat Cooperative in Tiên Giang province have been exported to China. Fresh coconuts must meet high-quality standards and come from gardens with VTVgo certification and export codes.
We need to ensure sufficient output for container exports. In terms of quality, farmers must adhere to VTVgo standards at a minimum.
I have encouraged growers to follow designated growing area codes and specific processes, using only fertilizers and pesticides approved by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of Vietnam and China.
The Chinese market consumes about 4 billion coconuts annually, presenting a significant opportunity for the Vietnamese coconut industry. However, exporting to this market requires compliance with strict food hygiene, safety standards, and plant quarantine regulations. Products must also meet quality standards before reaching consumers.
No intercropping or livestock are allowed in the coconut garden, which must remain clean. Coconut trees can achieve optimal weight only when free of insects.
When transporting by railway, a temperature of 2 to 3 degrees Celsius and humidity of around 30% must be maintained to ensure the coconut's maximum freshness.
In 2023, Vietnam exported fresh coconuts to 15 countries, totaling about 30,000 tons. Entering the Chinese market will further enhance opportunities. Careful preparation by farmers and businesses for initial shipments will build momentum for a strong market presence, paving the way to reach the ambitious export goal of $1 billion USD.
Over the past 10 months, shrimp exports have generated nearly $3 billion for Vietnam, an increase of more than 10% compared to the same period last year. This product group contributes the most to the seafood industry's total export turnover. Currently, the market is becoming more dynamic, with shrimp processing plants ramping up purchasing and processing to boost export revenue.
The crispy fried shrimp here are being prepared for export to Europe. To quickly achieve a revenue target of $110 million, representing a 20% increase compared to 2023, the company is intensifying procurement.
Our products have been sold to developed countries such as the US, Japan, and Europe. Previously, these products were primarily focused on Japan, but over time, Vietnam's value-added products have successfully expanded into other markets.
Like many shrimp farmers in the Mekong Delta, this man is quite pleased as the selling price of this product is rising.
Compared to the previous month, the price of shrimp per kilogram has increased by more than $1.58. This is a very positive sign.
It is essential to strengthen connections with shrimp farming households to ensure a stable supply. With a reliable source of materials, the processing plants can operate at full capacity.
The year-end festival seasons will present an opportunity for our shrimp exports to soar. Effectively tapping into the potential of various markets with a wide range of deep-processed products will help this multi-billion-dollar industry continue to grow and make a significant contribution to the seafood sector's goal of reaching $10 billion in exports.
Typhoon Trami has weakened to a tropical depression but continues to bring heavy rain. As a result, marine farmers in the south-central region are seeking ways to reduce risks to aquaculture cages, as heavy rainfall often causes mass fish deaths from freshwater shock.
In the Dum Mon area of Vạn Thạnh Commune, Vạn Ninh District, Thanh Hóa Province, aquaculture rafts are situated close to the shore. Heavy rain can lead to freshwater shock in these rafts, causing concern among local farmers. As a result, they often try to sell their harvest soon as the fish reaches the right size. For instance, Thum managed to sell an entire cage of pomfret, despite the price falling from $4.74 to $3.56 per kilo. Keeping the fish could mean wasting money on feed and facing uncertainty during storms.
Fish die due to insufficient oxygen. I'm concerned about storms, so this is the time to sell.
Even without the storm's impact, ongoing heavy rain and floodwater can lead to freshwater shock and mass fish deaths in aquaculture areas. The biggest concern is that aquatic products like lobsters have seen almost no sales for a month due to these challenges.
If the shrimp and fish suffocate, we lose everything.
Mass lobster deaths due to freshwater shock have occurred in the lagoon farming areas of Phie province. As a result, many lobster farmers have recently moved their operations to Vân Phong Bay in Thanh Hóa. They're also taking proactive measures, such as planning to lower their cages when surface water becomes less saline.
If there's a heavy influx of fresh water, I move the raft deeper for safety during storms.
The solution is to relocate the raft to the safe shelter area and securely reinforce the cage.
In Vạn Ninh District, Thanh Hóa, there are over 1,800 aquaculture rafts, each valued at billions of VND. Early implementation of storm response plans can significantly reduce the risk of damage. When assets are secure, fish farmers can confidently return to shore, avoiding the stress of being stranded on their rafts during storms.
Before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. Emergency response to historic flooding intensifies in Quang Binh province. And later on, Ha Giang's housing support efforts for sustainable poverty reduction. Now, continue on with other important updates. The North-South Railway is set to reopen on Tuesday evening following repairs to over 1.3 kilometers of track in Quang Tri province, severely eroded by Typhoon Trami. The most affected areas is near Salung Bridge in Vĩnh Linh district, where approximately 600 meters of roadbed has been washed away, causing rail displacement. The railway sector has mobilized 150 workers along with necessary materials and equipment to expedite the repairs. If all goes as planned, the repairs will be completed by 6 p.m. Tuesday. In the meantime, passenger transport will continue via bus between Dong Ha Station in Quang Tri and Dong Hoi Station in Quang Binh. Quang Binh experienced torrential rain on Monday night, leading to alarming flood levels. The Kinzang River has surpassed Alert Level 3, resulting in extensive flooding in Lệ Thủy district. As water level rise rapidly, authorities have worked tirelessly throughout the night to assist residents in evacuating from high-risk areas.
Officials are working late into the night to help residents elevate their belongings to prevent damage in Cam Thủy Commune, Lệ Thủy district. Nearly 500 households in flood-affected areas have been relocated over the past 2 days.
Since 8 a.m., we've been continuously moving our belongings, everything from furniture to livestock. The flood is rising, and we need to move to higher ground. It's too dangerous to stay here.
We are splitting up into teams to assist the elderly and vulnerable. Wherever we're needed, we are there to help.
As of October 28th, over 19,700 homes in Lệ Thủy district were flooded, with more than 8,000 submerged under a meter of water. Emergency services are focusing on critical areas.
Our command is on standby in key areas throughout the province and is organized into 4 operational teams. Various types of vessels and equipment are ready to assist residents and ensure their safety.
As floodwaters continue to rise, emergency responders remain vigilant, reaching out to those in need and providing reassurance.
Heavy rain and flooding in Quang Binh since Monday night have disrupted traffic and paralyzed traffic in many routes. In response, local police forces are actively aiding residents in their fight against the floods. In Lệ Thủy district, communal police have mobilized to prepare for the crisis, helping people secure their belongings and evacuate to safe areas. Lệ Thủy district police have deployed all available personnel to closely monitor the situation and regularly visit flooded areas to provide support. They are also focused on maintaining security and order, taking a firm stance against any criminal activities that might emerge during the storms and floods. In response to the government campaign, Eliminate Temporary and Dilapidated Housing, Ha Giang Province has mobilized both social resources and state funding to support the construction of new homes for impoverished and near-poor families facing housing challenges.
The houses built under Project 1953 have solid foundations, strong walls, and durable roofs.
I finally have a house in the city. I feel so happy. I no longer worry about housing. I can fully focus on working.
Among the families supported, over 80% have risen above the poverty line. These households continue to strive for economic growth to ensure sustainable living conditions.
The Housing Assistance Program for Impoverished Veterans and Low-Income Households, known as Project 1953, has enabled Ha Giang to construct 6,700 homes from 2019 to 2022, with total funding exceeding $17 million.
Nearly all of the 6,700 households exhibit a strong commitment to progress. Most have successfully alleviated poverty and improved living conditions.
The province has proactively implemented various mechanisms and policies, mobilizing additional resources to eradicate temporary and dilapidated housing. As a result, nearly 9,500 additional poor and near-poor families have acquired new homes since 2022. This effort bolsters community trust in the party's leadership and government policies.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade has directed its units to enhance state management of e-commerce in Vietnam. This follows the emergence of cross-border platforms like Temu, Shein, and 1688, which have operated in the country without proper registration. The ministry has tasked the Vietnam E-commerce and Digital Economy Agency with coordinating efforts to inform and guide consumers to be cautious when shopping online. It specifically advises against transacting with platforms that lack confirmation of registration for the ministry at the e-commerce information portal, aiming to protect consumers and uphold e-commerce integrity in Vietnam. Vietnam is emerging as a promising music market in Southeast Asia, behind Indonesia and the Philippines. Digital technology may be creating new opportunities for artists, but challenges remain, particularly in protecting copyrights online and maintaining the quality of music productions.
Statistics from the Vietnam Music Copyright Protection Center reveal that online copyright infringements are on the rise. These infringements take diverse forms, from unauthorized use of music to streaming on pirated websites. Methods have also become more sophisticated, ranging from using original works without permission to cutting, editing, and reprocessing them to evade detection.
To address violations in the digital environment, we require advanced technological tools. However, we currently lack the necessary technology for comprehensive monitoring. Additionally, existing sanctions for digital violations are insufficient to deter such behavior.
Online music offers advantages such as speed, convenience, and widespread accessibility. However, it also presents challenges in content control, as the market has seen an influx of songs and products that are inappropriate for young audiences.
International platforms have stringent regulations regarding product releases, requiring clear declarations about content related to violence, sexuality, or age restrictions. This is especially crucial for record labels like ours, as any missteps can have significant repercussions, potentially leading to negative evaluations in the international market.
Paid online music presents a promising market. However, for this market to thrive, regulatory agencies must establish a robust legal framework and enforce appropriate sanctions to build a professional music industry. Globally, digital music revenue is becoming an increasingly substantial part of the industry's total income, with paid subscriptions rising significantly, demonstrating this as an inevitable trend, and Vietnam is no exception. To truly advance, though, the industry needs both the creative drive of artists and strong legal protections, along with effective digital management tools from regulatory bodies.
Coming up next in our world news, Israel bans UN Relief and Human Development Agency from operating. Later on, Houthi attacks 3 ships in Arabian Sea and Red Sea. Moving on to our world news, the Israeli parliament recently approved legislation prohibiting the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, from operating within its territory. This agency has provided vital aid and support to Palestinian territories and refugees for over 7 decades. The new law stipulates that UNRWA will not be allowed to send representatives, offer services, or engage in any activities, directly or indirectly, on Israeli soil. In response to this move, UN leaders and several European nations have criticized the ban, arguing that it will exacerbate the suffering of Palestinians, particularly in the Gaza Strip. Yemen's Houthi forces claim to have conducted attacks on 3 vessels in the Arabian Sea and the Red Sea, including in the Bab al-Mandab Strait. The group utilized drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles in the attacks, and declared intentions to launch further assaults until Israel ends its military campaign in Gaza and Lebanon. In retaliation to Houthi attacks this year, the U.S.-British coalition has carried out numerous airstrikes and missile attacks against Houthi targets in Yemen. The ongoing instability in the Red Sea continues to negatively impact global shipping operations. The U.S. government has announced a new set of regulations aimed at controlling investment activities in artificial intelligence, or AI, semiconductors, and other technologies in China. The regulations focused on 3 key areas: semiconductors and microelectronics, quantum information technology, and AI. The new rules prohibit American citizens from participating in certain transactions involving technologies and products identified as posing a significant threat to national security. They also require reporting of any other transactions related to technologies and products that may pose security risks. With the election for the U.S. 47th president just days away, investment channels are sending mixed signals about potential outcomes. This uncertainty suggests that this year's presidential race could feature unexpected twists.
On Wall Street, there's a belief that if major indices show an upward trend in the 3 months leading up to the election, the incumbent administration is likely to remain in power. This year, with major indices experiencing significant gains, the outlook appears favorable for Kamala Harris. However, rising cryptocurrency values and betting markets are leaning toward Donald Trump.
What's interesting is that the bettors, those who are placing actual bets on the outcome of the election, are leaning toward a Trump re-election. And usually people who put their money where their mouth is, they tend to be correct, and they certainly were correct back in 2020.
Recent surveys indicate a close race between the two candidates. Harris has an advantage since stepping in for President Biden, but Trump has been regaining support, especially concerning income tax, an issue that resonates with many voters.
Kamala Harris is going to win the election. She wants to implement a 28% tax on small businesses, and it's just not good for the younger economy. And, you know, like, we're young, we live around here.
Harris's plan targets tax increases solely on individuals earning over $400,000 per year, while keeping import tax rates unchanged. Conversely, Trump's strategy avoids raising personal income taxes, proposes reductions for corporations, but increases import tariffs to offset losses. Harris's approach could lead to a public debt increase of nearly $4 trillion, while Trump's proposals could escalate this figure to $7.8 trillion.
They both propose things. It's a matter of getting things passed, right? So it really depends on the Congress, right, and the House. So how's that going to kind of play out?
Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast. And that is all that we have this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.